Good evening, beautiful humans. Welcome to the San Jose Poetry Slam. I am your MC for the evening, Scorpiana Xlent, and we are coming to you tonight from Muwekma Ohlone land, also known as San Jose, California. For those of you that have never been to a slam before, Poetry Slam is a competition in which poetry is performed and then judged by 5 random members of the audience whose only qualification is they're alive. The rules are very simple. Is there anybody here that didn't hear me go over the rules? Because I don't want to repeat it unless I need to for anybody. I think everybody heard the rules like 20 times tonight. So poets are basically gonna come up here. They're gonna spit a poem. Judges are going to judge them on a basis of 1 to 10 with decimal points, just like the Winter Olympics, which are happening right now. In fact, I kind of like to think of Poetry Slam as a cross between an Olympic event and a drinking game. So we have 5 judges. We take the highest of the 5 scores and the lowest of the 5 scores, and we kick them to the curb, and we take the middle 3 scores and add them together, giving the performer their score, unless they get a time penalty. So judges, you're going to base your scores tonight half on the poem itself. Did it move you? Did you like the wordplay? And we're going to base it half on performance, because in Poetry Slam, performance is important. So if you hear the most amazing poem you've heard in your whole entire life, like it makes you want to quit your job and move to the suburbs, but the poet performed the poem like this, you're not going to give that poet a 10, because while their poem was amazing, they didn't bring it with the performance. Also, somebody comes up and they are the most amazing, energetic, engaging performer you've seen in your life, but they just came at you with some greeting card bullshit. You're not going to want to give them a 10 either. So base half on the poem, half on the performance. Judges, we ask you, do not penalize a poet if they go over the time penalty. In fact, judges, don't time the poets. Our wonderful scorekeeper, timekeeper, and judge Brandon is going to do that for us. So we don't want to penalize the poet. Also, judges, we ask you to be impartial and keep it to poetry and performance. Do not judge poets based on their personal appearance. We ask you to not judge poets on gender or appearance of gender, race, religion, what they're wearing tonight, their hairstyle, weight, age, any of those other things. Keep it solely to poetry and performance. Judges, we're also going to ask you tonight to try to be really consistent in your scoring. There's a disease that affects every poetry slam called score creep. What score creep is, particularly if you're enjoying a tasty beverage as you're watching this, is as the night progresses, the poetry may not necessarily get any better, but you might start scoring it higher. So really pay attention. I find when I judge, it's really helpful. I like to write down what I give each person. And then as I'm kind of judging the next person, I'm thinking, do I like them better? Because if I didn't necessarily like them better, let me not score them higher. So, really try to stay consistent. Also, too, we are going to ask you after the poet is finished and I come back up, I'm going to say, judges, give me your scores. You are then going to type your scores into the chat box. Now, when you type them into the chat box, don't send them privately to me or to Brandon. Put them, in that portion of the chat where it says you could send to everybody. This way, everybody can see the scores. Judges, I'm also going to ask you tonight if you could put the word judge next to your name. This way, as the scores are coming up, we're able to see that, because sometimes, an excited audience member or somebody that's just come to the room will like jump in and be like 9.5, and it kind of confuses us, and we want our scorekeeping to be accurate. On that note, I'm going to ask too that when I say, judges, can I have your scores? The rest of y'all in the audience, don't type anything at all into chat, because we find it gets really like confusing. Like if only 2 judges have gotten their scores up and people are commenting, oh, amazing poem, and quoting lines, then our scorekeeper's trying to scroll up and down, trying to make sure they find all 5 scores. Once I have read off all 5 scores, y'all can continue commenting and saying stuff in the chat. It'll be, totally fine. So also too, as far as muting yourself and unmuting yourself, when we used to do Poetry Slam live, we feed a lot off audience reaction. It gives the poets energy. In Zoom, it's a little bit harder because if too many people, if anybody is talking and they're not muted while the poet's up, it's actually very distracting to the performance. It can throw the poet off. So when I do call a poet to the stage, everybody but that poet needs to mute themselves. When the poet is done with their performance, they're going to turn their video off. When they turn their video off, that's the indication they finished their poem. If you want to unmute yourself really quick to cheer them on, clap, get loud, totally fine. Y'all want to chat, clap and scream and shout when I'm reading off scores, that's totally fine. Y'all want to cheer for a poet when I first call them up? Hey, unmute yourself, do that really quick. Otherwise, when the poet's performing, please stay muted. Also too, so because you have the ability to unmute yourself and react to the judges' scores, judges, don't let yourself be swayed by the audience. If somebody does not like your score and they boo you or make a comment in the chat, ignore them. Don't feel like now you have to, if you were scoring low, don't feel like you have to start handing out a bunch of high scores because somebody didn't like your honesty. Remember, we are on Zoom. People don't know where you live. They can't follow you into the parking lot after if they don't like how you were scoring tonight. So, very liberating. But audience, y'all only got one job tonight. Sway the motherfucking judges. That's right. You are free to let the judges know how you feel. I just ask you don't cuss at the judges or, threaten to kill anybody. But, if a judge posts a score you like and, you want to comment, in the chat or, since you get to unmute for a couple seconds, you want to cheer that, go for it. If you just heard the most amazing life-changing poet in your whole entire life and a judge gave them a 6, you can boo them. Just don't cuss them out or threaten their life. So, that's pretty easy. And our judges for the evening, in fact, I want to give them a quick round of applause right now because, judging ain't easy. Let's give it up for our judges, Jenny, Cha, Brandon, Mr. Xlent, and our feature, Alex. Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
Okay, so the poets are going to go in this order tonight. We have Manny, Frankie, Greg B, Lacan, Maureen M, The Prodigy Truth, David H, Lene, and Eliza P. So I think I've gone over everything. Judges, y'all know what you need to do tonight, right? Yes, I'm going to assume that means yes. Poets, y'all know what you're supposed to do tonight. It appears I'm the only person who doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing tonight, but that's okay. Sometimes it's just like that. So we are, oh, wait, no, I did forget one thing. Before we can kick this off, blood must be spilled, splattered across the Zoom screen. See, the poetry gods don't like a poetry slam to happen until we give a sacrifice. So right now, we are going to send a poet down from Mount Calibration to spit a poem. We call this our sacrificial poet. And while it sounds really fancy, truth be told, what we're actually doing, our first poet competing tonight does not want to be the person that the judges get to practice scoring on. So we are going to throw up a sacrificial poet. This poet is not part of tonight's competition. They don't get to win any prize money. They don't get to go on to round two. They are just doing this to give the judges a chance to practice judges. So that being said, give it up for your sacrificial poet and welcome to the stage, Scorpiana Xlent.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
Thank you.
Go poet.
They say I suffer from body dysmorphic disorder because when I look in the mirror, all I see is a goddess. This is unacceptable. I am unacceptable because the only thing worse than being a fat girl is being a fat girl who loves herself. But you see, my sexy defies the labels they have attached underneath my skin like tracking device. I am not flesh meant to be reviled, defiled, then meant to plead gratitude, like bodies like mine are only meant to be plundered in the shadows, never worshipped in spotlight, never called shades of goddess, because curves that overflow the molds they demand we pour into are deemed incapable of acceptance. They weave insult into compliment like it is the only garment my limbs are worthy of being draped in. Because rounded bodies like mine will never be considered altars to divinity, will only be seen as monument of unacceptable, and this to me is not acceptable. So I will write odes to the flesh covering my bones, refuse to cringe at this roadmap of jiggles and rolls, and sing praises to the silvery lines, because these are not stretch marks. They are a story told in hieroglyphics of a child carried under my heart. I will not hide this body under loose layers, but display bare skin, because these are not imperfections, and this body's a motherfucking love poem. So when they tell me I'm sexy for a fat girl, nah, assholes, I'm proof that fat girls are sexy.
Yeah.
Okay, give it up for Scorpiana.
Hey.
Excellent. Okay, judges, we get to practice scoring now. Throw some pretty numbers up on the screen. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Waiting on one more judge.
Mike is in trouble.
We've got a low score of an 8.5, an 8.9, a 9, a 9.2, and a 9.5. So while Brandon mashes all those scores together, tonight actually would not be possible. I have to give a big shout out San Jose Poetry Slam is being brought to you by Poetry Center San Jose, a nonprofit a nonprofit poetry organization that has been in San Jose for over 40 years. So thank you, Poetry Center San Jose. Brandon, what do we got?
Hi, it's me, your resident floating head. The final score is, drum roll, 27.1.
27.1. Clap for the poet, not the score. And Brandon, can I have you type that into the chat for us? So then this way sometimes we have folks that like to play along and keep track of scores. And, this way we've got that going. So poets, if I tell you you are on deck, you are not coming to the stage right now. You will be coming to the stage after the poet I'm calling up now. So on deck, we have Frankie, but coming to the stage, give it up for Manny.
Woo! Woo! Go Manny!
Woo! Yep. Okay, here we go. I copped a fresh new beatbox. It reverberates throughout several street blocks, comparable to anything of Pete Rock's. Throw it in the truck and let the beat knock. Heads nodding and bobbing, all your ears I be robbing. Remove all tears, they be sobbing. Clean up all slobs, all fears throughout. Years, phobias cleared. Prepare a toast of cheers. We can boast and gloat, release all hope, and breathe with me. Sunlight gleams in me, the human torch here to scorch the path to dreams, victory. The new plan for every human. Beatbox blow in your mind, yes we can. Inspire in kind, revolution, not be televised. As advised, remove every screen from your eyes and realize the dream is here. Every shit show heaven ghosted, ever so present, presented with the highest of presence. Spirit lessons lifted, beatbox gifted, moment owned it, period.
Woo! Give it up for Manny. Okay, judges, let's throw some scores up there. Okay, we got a low of a 7.2. We have an 8, an 8.2, an 8.5, and a 9.5. So we're gonna roll those and mash those all together. And what do we got for Manny?
The score is 24.7.
24.7. Clap for the poet, not the score. On deck, we have Greg B, but coming to the stage, give it up for Frankie. Woo!
Woo! Frankie!
To try to explain what a parent means to a child is impossible. This bond is inexplicable and goes beyond human dialect. It's in our first words, mama, dada. It's a pair of outstretched arms we take our first steps into. The first faces we look for at our dance recital, the cheers we hear in the background of our high school field hockey game. We look in the mirror and see a mashup of those who created us staring back. My laugh sounds like yours. I listen to the bands you love. My crude humor is from listening to you. I'm loud like you, opinionated, strong-willed, fierce. Our parents' job is to shape us into who we are, to create opportunities, cultivate hope, commemorate life. Their job is to love us, to teach us how to love, to teach us gratitude. Sometimes they teach us by the mistakes they make. Sometimes they lack so much love they forget they're teaching us at all. Sometimes those who are meant to stay are simply incapable. To describe abandonment goes beyond my grasp of human dialect. To describe hopelessness is futile. May 13th, 2014. Events I can't describe because thinking of them still burns a hole through my chest. Daddy wrote me a suicide letter, but the girls at the homeless shelter tore it up after they jumped me. June 22nd, 2014. The shattered scream of your sister as she begs for mommy to get up off the floor. 2 suicides in 1 month, and you're only 15 years old, a freshman in high school. Describe destitute if you can. Describe what it's like to be an orphan. I couldn't. Describe what it's like to lose all hope. Describe the feeling of drugs coursing through your veins and cigarettes burning holes through your lungs. Describe fear. Until one day you wake up and decide you are tired of trying to describe these things that are incomprehensible. Maybe all mom and dad taught me wasn't to give up. Maybe their forfeit showed me just how precious life is. Hope flutters into my soul like sunshine in a snowstorm to find forgiveness. Take your parents off a pedestal and search for their humanity. Just people suffering, same as me. So much more than the parental title I've equated to their identity. I feel your pain. I know what it is like to not want to wake up. I forgive you. This causes me to want to wake up every day, extravagantly. I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed. Describe empathy, growth, resilience. I search for the wonders and amazements that this earth has to offer. I smile and find joy for you. I go to therapy and I grow for us. I will always miss you, but I will never join you. Hope blossoms like the spring flowers the month you left us. Sunshine bursts out of my chest like the hot summer day you took your life, or rather, life took you. Mom and Dad, your suicides broke me, and then they made me into the person I am. Thank you for teaching me how to be strong, even when you could not do so for yourself.
Give it up for Frankie.
Beautiful.
Frankie, were you having a technical difficulty where your video did not want to turn on?
That might have been, I'm sorry.
Okay, because one of the rules is that you had to be on video.
I didn't realize I wasn't on video. I was looking at it from a note section on my phone, so I guess when I went to the note section, it turned off.
Okay, so I am going to, because I didn't announce what the penalty was going to be for that. Beforehand, I only announced the penalty for doing 2 poems for round. I'm going to ask your other competitors whether or not whether or not it's going to disqualify you, or whether or not we should just give you a point penalty. Because if we don't do anything, then I have to allow for other poets to not be on screen. So that our job is to sway the judges. How about the host? So what I'm going to ask for really, really quick is the other poets competing tonight. How do you feel? Because that's going to determine, because I feel like for me to make a decision either way, without asking the other competitors how they feel and what they want is not fair either. So, okay, we have one person that says no penalty, one that says half a point, keeper 2 for no penalty, 2 for half a point, 3 to just keep it, 4 to just keep it. Pirate ship, you're not competing. I did not ask you. Just keep it. Okay, so your competitors have decided we are going to keep it. So judges, let's get some scores then. Got 2 scores, 3, 4. Waiting on one more. Okay, we've got a low of a 7.6, a 7.9, an 8.5, an 8.6, and a 9. So while Brendan's mashing all those together, to the rest of y'all competing poets, thank you. Y'all are awesome because y'all could have used the opportunity to be like, disqualify, and y'all are showing true sportsmanship. Y'all are awesome. So because we let this go, for the rest of the evening, if anybody else, does have video issues, we will let it go for everybody. But everybody fix your devices by next month. Just kidding. So Brandon, what do we have for our poet?
For Frankie, we have a score of 25, but after the time penalty, it is going to be 24.5.
Okay. So with the time penalty, for those of you that are new with us tonight, we are going to teach you a San Jose tradition. We have to have some kind of rules, otherwise there's chaos, but we're artists, we don't really like rules. So how we really feel about the time penalty, on a count of 3, I'm going to count us off, and when I go 1, 2, 3, we're all going to go, fuck the time penalty. So how do we feel about the time penalty? 1, 2, 3. Fuck the time penalty. And clap for the poet, not the score. Okay. On deck, we have Lacan, but coming to the stage, give it up for Greg B. Woo!
Content warning, sex abuse. This poem is after Adam Faulkner. This is the poem I never thought I'd write. I never thought I'd write it because who wants to hear about the day a child lost his everything? A child became a man, became a child again, became ashamed with his head in his hands, walking alone and broken, like a psych nurse who walks away from a global disaster, defeated because he gets re-traumatized every time he sits and listens to a story of sex abuse, tasked with keeping people safe is impossible when he isn't even safe. People say he's a good listener, that he helps people calm down, but really, empathy is a skill he learned to survive. I never thought I'd write this poem because who wants to hear about my fractured memories, the blackouts, the missing pieces of the day I escaped my body for the first time, unable to handle the somatic or sympathetic responses. It's not pleasure when you take away the choice. Who wants to hear about all the years after that day, when you smash picture frames and pull knives out of drawers, when you destroy everything in the house, including yourself, and they call it a happy childhood. They call it a loving family. The first time I fucked a girl was in the back of a Buick LeSabre. I got off instantly. She was disappointed because I was 6 years old again, my eyes fixed in the same position, looking down and slightly to the left. Embarrassed like I was with my shorts pulled down to the grass, completely out of control. I just wanted her to stop. I wanted someone to tell me it wasn't my fault. I wanted someone to keep me safe. I wanted someone to tell me it would all be okay someday. It was going to be okay someday. I just couldn't see it. It took me the rest of my life to learn that that someone I was looking for was actually me. that I could take care of my child self better than anyone else ever could. I've learned where intimacy can lead me. It leads me to connection to other people, a connection to the universe where these people and places can never hurt me again. I don't know if that day where the child became a man was really as important as this day today, where I've learned how to become a child again, where I'm not ashamed to get undressed or make love. I made tea this morning. I drank water right out of the sink. I thought about how all those things I destroyed are better off dead. I don't know if I'm writing the poem I never thought I'd write or a poem about the poem I never thought I'd write. But what I do know is I'm doing my best. Maybe I'm not writing anything at all. Maybe I'm just living the poetry now.
Woo. Give it up for Greg. Judges.
Woo.
See some scores. Got 1, 2, 3, waiting on fourth judge. We've got a low of a 8.4, an 8.5, an 8.9, an 8.9, and a 9.2. We are going to mix and mash all those together. And what do we have for Greg?
The final score is 26.3.
26.3. Okay, I'm gonna have you post that up there for me. And on deck, we have Maureen M. But coming to the stage, give it up for Lacan. Woo!
Lately, these streets would talk to me like a stranger. I know I've been here before, yet even forgetfulness is asking, where? The chatter of the cars grew louder. The questions in my head are screaming more. It's never going to be like before. You chose quickly. Apparently, people change faster than places. Yet, I'm still in the same bar, right? Same drink, in the place we used to call our destination. I'm a masochistic location for my own gratification, but truthfully, I come here to remind myself of how willingly I love you. Still, in the still fate of now, so I can write the last cartography of loss. Someday, I would remember these streets, and I'll be alone, thinking, saying, thank you. But tonight is still not that night. Tonight, I choose to walk with pain again and again and again and again of losing the avenues of myself. When I tirelessly walk with you, still through this city that often forgets me.
Woo. Give it up for Lacan. Judges. Get some pretty numbers. Waiting on one more. I like numbers because they're squiggly, and when my vision's being blurry, it just looks like art. Okay, we got a low of an 8. We've got an 8.5, an 8.7, an 8.9, and a 9.2. So while we are mashing those together, it just feels so Olympic right now. I don't know if anybody else is watching the Olympics. I actually have not had a chance to watch most of it. I've been missing a lot, which is kind of funny because I actually like Winter Olympics way better than Summer Olympics. I feel like it's more exciting, and I feel like there's more potential for like people to get injured, and I don't know why I like that. I'm a little warped. So what do we have for Lacan?
Lacan's final score comes out to 26.1.
26.1. Clap for the poet, not the score. On deck, we have the prodigy Truth, but coming to the stage, give it up for Maureen. Woo!
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. Trigger warning, assault and abuse. No means no. Say it with me. No means no. Now repeat after me. No means no. No means no. I do not consent. I do not agree. I do not give permission. I do not know the full extent of what you are asking, so I can't possibly say yes. Access denied. My boundaries transcend human connection so that I may continue to have connection. My boundaries are constant, unwavering, and only I can enforce them. No means no. It does not discriminate whether you are a friend, foe, or stranger. No means no, and it's not just about sex. Assault comes in many forms, like manipulation, coercion, and microaggressions. It's invisible. It has no odor, no taste, but it is ever present. It knows you better than you know yourself. Assault happens when they can't or won't take no for an answer, when they take advantage of the kindness of a stranger, or worse, a loved one, when they disagree with a choice made against their will, a choice that wasn't theirs to make, when they abuse the words, I'm sorry, as much as the person they say it to, when they fool you once, twice, robbing you of informed consent. Because you think you know them, you think you know what you're saying yes to. That is assault. It is cunning. It is when our naivete has us saying yes to a life we could never imagine, not even in our worst days. When to us, insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting different results, but for them, it's patient entrapment. Assault is when they expect the best from someone while holding them responsible for the worst, when they violate our body, mind, and soul and claim it as their own, their right, when they underestimate our power or they fear it. And how many times have we heard the word no when we wanted, needed a yes? How many times have we been honored when we said no? Assault is a pattern of behavior. It is repetition. It is controlled, contained, and conniving. It is gross disrespect of one's free will. It is the assumption that no is not an option. But sometimes no is the only answer I have, the only answer I can give, the only weapon I can wield. And I'm learning how to use it often, freely, without explanation. No. Thank you. Thank you.
You're muted, Scorp.
Okay, close the door. Thank you. Sorry. I was on mute. So we got a low of an 8.1 an 8.8, an 8.8, a 9, or a 9.5. So we are going to mash all those together. And what do we got?
We have a final score of 26.6.
26.6. Clap for the poet, not the score. On deck, we have Lene, but coming to the stage, give it up for the prodigy. Oh, wait, mistake. On deck, we have David H., but coming to the stage, give it up for the prodigy Truth. Woo!
Woo.
Beginning a poem on my second glass of wine, keeping in mind, I don't drink and I'm still $1.50. I never wanted any of this, especially the privilege I don't have privilege to keep. Got off 3 times today and still unsatisfied, so maybe a third glass will help me finish this masterpiece, so bear with me. Beginning a poem again on my third glass of wine. Keeping in mind, I hate drinking and whining. Why am I so alone? Right, I love being alone. Alas, aloof my thoughts have become. Be quiet and be quick about it, quite possibly positively in position to provide a private professional shit show featuring me. The future is now, and if it isn't, it doesn't exist. The air we breathe brings a new virus. Look me in the iris as I spit you this menu. Me and you, we meant to be, but B comes after A. And actually, alternatively, art is a sign and a science. How much math it take to equate fate to Bates Motel. We've all been there before. C5. 6 is still afraid of 7, not because of what they did to 9, but he lies. He can't be trusted. Truth tramples triangular trade routes, retribution for survivors. Or am I thinking restitution? Think the third glass is kicking like the baby, but knows I will labor her like love, knows it will take everything I have, but baby, believe me, we will become unpalpable, undisputed, and unstoppable. Okay, let's wrap this up. Choose the blue pill. The red pill, everything becomes blurry. Happiness becomes a long lost lamented goo lagoon. The tune of Nipsey Hussle's Blue Laces will start to jog memories of the shootout. One at the beach. Do you ever think that we are the same person in different realities, becoming friends in those realities once we find how real one another is? My mother is. Slowly becoming a ghost, my presence as ghastly as hers. The hearse approaches, and my third class I never met her ever severs. Finished. Killed that shit.
Oof. Prodigy.
Woo!
Give it up for Prodigy Truth. Judges. Waiting on one more score. Okay, we have a low of an 8. We have a 8.3, a 9.2, a 9.2, and a 9.6. This is like almost as exciting as watching snowboarding half pipe. Like, I'm pretty excited tonight. What do we got for the Prodigy Truth?
We have a final score of 26.7.
26.7. Clap for the poet, not the score. On deck, we have Lene, but coming to the stage, give it up for David H. Woo!
God's gifts, they'd have been for us all. They'd have been given to the primitive, to the simple, to the very deep, to the cutest dimple. Not just for the cools, nor the biggest name schools, because even the fools would have been given the tools You didn't need degrees mapping away, diplomas, resume. And yet hear what they say. Such a small price to pay. Shall they pray? Man, the thicker it gets, the tougher to buy it. The dimming of my light in all that noise and the quiet. They know the good book for the thousands of hours. Question its sink, question the towers. Take a minute, smell their power, and the book's got little or nothing to do with a flower. It ain't nothing in the name, it's got to fit their frame. Thank you just the same, but we're running this game. The thicker it all got, the tougher it was to buy it. The dimming of my light and the noise of the quiet. The angelic softness of a hymn that's just sung, that inner peace when it's done, the room is as one. So what don't I know? Why make it a show? No need to shout, the pipes and the pianos drown that all out. You're not what it's about. Thicker it gets, the tougher to buy it. Dimming of my light and the noise of that quiet. Bring us your want, dare not confront. We're in the right. Come fill some space. Welcome one and all to our loving place. You know, I did. I sat for this spell. I really did try it. Thicker it got, the tougher to buy it. Dimming of the light and the noise of the quiet.
Wow.
Give it up for David H. Okay, judges, let's get some scores. We got 4 judges waiting on one more. Y'all are doing a really good job judging. We've got a low of a 7.5. We have an 8, an 8.3, an 8.5, and an 8.9. I'm gonna mash all those together. I just realized tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So for all of you that celebrate Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're on the coast and I'm in Kansas, you know.
Yeah, but it's not Valentine's Day by you yet.
Just flirting with
Yeah.
you.
It's still not tomorrow yet. Brandon, what do we got for David?
We have a final score of 24.8.
24.8. Clap for the poet, not the score. Okay, on deck, we have Irma P, but coming to the stage, give it up for Lynette. Woo!
I hear people talking about their pronouns. She, he, they, them, ze, them. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I can dig this. I wish people would address me right too. So let's get a few things clear. I'm not your baby girl, sweetie, honey, bae, boo. No, I like the sound of your majesty and nothing less will do. So don't you call me ma'am like what, some ordinary mother? Oh no, there is no other like me. A single rare individual completely in touch with my divinity. Call me Queen, Regina, your Royal Highness, the shit I have risen above, overcome, reached heights higher, highest. Call me goddess. I shine light through the darkness like Luna. My womb rides the moon. I identify with diviner, seer, mystic, guru. So don't you come at me talking shit like chick, cunt, bitch. In fact, you think about grabbing my pussy, I'll show you which. Conjurer of poems that cast spells, cauldrons of soup that heal wounds. Call me baby girl. One more time, I can stick you with voodoo. True. So excuse you, who thought you knew how to do what talk? To who? Me? No, 2 out of the box for common labels. Madam G.R.I.T., mistress wordsmith, not your little mama. I don't even sit, bitch. So remember this. Before you come talk to me, these 2 little things. Baby, my name is Lene, and I will answer to my queen.
Hell yeah.
Give it up for Lene. Judges. Okay, we have got a low of an 8.4, an 8.5, a 9.0, a 9.2, and a 9.2. So we're gonna match all of those together. And if you're wondering, when is the next San Jose Slam going to be? We are the second Sunday of every month. We do not know for sure whether our March Slam, well, actually, no, I did just find out today. Our March Slam actually will be on Zoom. We're kind of going from month to month. Originally, our old pre-COVID physical venue wanted to have us come back, and then cases spiked and we like postponed, and then we set like another prospective date, and then we've kind of pushed it back again. So if you want to be kept in the loop on whether next month we are going to be on Zoom or in person, or whether at some point, if the grant money gods shine on us, hopefully one day we will be doing both. You can follow us on Facebook, the San Jose Poetry Slam. If you're on Facebook, we are San Jose Poetry Slam is also on Instagram, because every month we put on up invites and announcements of when our next show's gonna be. So what is our final? Oh, thank you, Mr. Xlent, for posting that for me. What is our final score for Lene?
Lene's final score comes out to 26.7.
26.7. Clap for the poet, not the score. On deck, we're going to get a little sneaky peek from our feature, but coming to the stage, give it up for Elisa P. Woo!
Happiness, my father said, is drinking only the first cup of seltzer every time. Falling asleep with a towel around your head, getting your shoes shined at the airport, but most of all, it's watching the honeymooners late at night, because happiness is knowing that there's someone who's messed up more than you. Loneliness, my mother said, is waiting at the kitchen table while the chicken dries up and shrivels in the oven, but he'll be home any minute, she said. It's asking, how was your day? Fine. Anything new? No. Then nothing until the phone rings and is kept off the hook with teenage mouths full of chatter until long after the chicken has burned and been thrown away. Love, my father said, is silence. Taking a deep breath before you enter your home, drooping your shoulders and playing your song, piano slightly off key and muted, but loud enough to muffle accusations. This is love, my father said. Anger, my mother said, is you should have known. Cheeks too red, eyes too large, hands too close, doors slammed, because anger, my mother said, is lashing out, then folding in. Remorse, my father said, is I'm sorry the chicken burned. Its apology notes handwritten and tucked away, its songs left unfinished, gifts that never satisfy, following anger into its lair. Serenity, my mother said, is could have been, should have been, would have been. It's Friday nights before the neighbors come, when the children are obedient and kiss you first and kiss you right and set the table before you ask and set it right. And serenity prefers, my mother said, to be up north on a wooden porch, beneath a robin's nest with 3 little eggs. See how she takes care of her family. I receive the pictures in the mail. And the signature is in a handwriting I don't recognize, but wish I did. And I am away early the next morning. Before anyone else is awake, I sneak into the library, crouch beside the lowest shelf, pull the dictionary out onto the carpeted floor and read. I read happiness and loneliness and love and anger, remorse and serenity. As morning stretches and reaches the sky, I begin to scribble in between the lines. A robin lands and peeks inside. She sings a new day. She sings a new life. She sings a new song. Thank you.
Give it up for Irma P. Judges. I think the judges are doing a great job tonight. Waiting on one more score. Okay, we got a low of an 8.8. We got an 8.9. We have a 9. We have a 9.1 and a 9.2. So we have made it through round 1. So here's what's going to happen now. In just a couple of minutes, we are going to take a 10-minute break. So, you know, whoever needs to get food, I know I need to get food, get your beverage, use the restroom, go smoke whatever it is you smoke. We're going to have time for all of that. And then after we come back from the break, before we get into round 2, we have an amazing feature tonight, Alex the Great. But before we send you off on break, we want y'all to understand why y'all need to come back from break to hear the rest of this feature, because I know I'm really excited. So just real quick though, Brandon, what was our final score for Elisa?
The final score is 27.
27. All right. Clap for the poet, not the score. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little taste of what we are in for tonight. I am going to read a little bit of this bio, so y'all know why I am so excited to have Alex here tonight. Alex the Great, and GRIT stands for Given Real Encouragement Amongst Turmoil, is a spoken word artist, speaker, playwright, and activist. She is a runner-up for 2018 National Civil Rights Museum Drop the Mic Poetry Slam and a 2017 Women of the World Poetry Slam finalist. She's graduated the University of California, Irvine with a bachelor's in African American Studies and Claremont Graduate University with a master's in cultural studies. She's been performing since 2011 in various venues, colleges, and stages across the country. There is a very, very, very long list of amazing things she has performed in. And I'm sure rather than hear me read the rest of the bio, we want to hear Alex's amazing poetry. So folks, please show a lot of love and excitement for Alex the Great.
Woo! Yeah.
Hello, folks. Thank you for having me. I will leave you with this poem before you head to your break. I tried to call myself depressed once, attempted to label myself a statistic to a sickness that I had no true cognizance of. My throat wrestled my tongue back down my chest, said emphatically, how this body ain't never been home to misery. Ain't no welcome mat on no visiting hours either. Instead, I chose to think of all the things that a gracious mouth will conjure up, about all the folks who love me, by the God who continuously saves me, about forgiveness, especially when I'm so undeserving, and even through all my sad days, my bad days, my I can't complain, but things could be better days, I found joy seeping through the cracks of my window pane, and iridescent sunlight on my dark days, a symphony to my beating heart, my inspiration. I found beauty in this melanin, my blackness, black joy is a wailing police sirens that don't pull you over. Cause ain't no happiness that can ever warm a Black person's heart like limbing beneath the brink of death. When your whole life is a misfire in a chamber, an involuntary game of Russian roulette, you stay ever thankful for the miracle of breath. Black joy is a direct deposit hitting your account a day early. Holding that big six in dominoes, winning at hand of spades. Saturday morning sleeping in, soul train lines, cookouts, the family gatherings, the DJ playing your favorite song, the unspoken what's up in a dap or a head nod, mama catching a cramp around that third stroke of the belt, how the front porch stay covered in old folk storytelling, how the backyard carry traces of kin in its soil, grandma with an underhanded $20 bill handshake, that new job joy, newborn baby smell joy, grandpa's 85th birthday joy, hearing those 3 words you've been approved. Black joy is a moment when the beat drop and your favorite auntie holler, oh, yeah, that's my song. Beating the odds, forge a new path, a life not reduced to a hashtag, creating a legacy, laughing carelessly. Sunday morning devotionals, the praise and the worship team, praise reports in that church bulletin. No meaning of those 2 words, but God having a song to sing, fresh out the salon, looking on fleek, Black joy is being on fleek, type. Slang on point, beat to the gods. Black joy is broken English, spoken in slang with a Mississippi backwoods southern drawl, that Midwest swing, East Coast Jones, West Side beat so lit. Black joy is the prayer, the omen, the amen. Early mornings on Christmas with family, opening gifts. Little black dress joy, 3-piece suit joy. I found some cash in my couch cushions joy, unspeakable joy. Black joy is at work in every breath, a testament to the power of active resistance, to defiance. This is Blackness. This is Black joy.
Hey.
Okay, give it up for our feature. So now y'all understand how important it is to come back in 10 minutes. So we are going to go on a 10-minute break. I am going to time it. And in exactly 10 minutes, when my little timer goes off, we will come back. So, feel free to chat amongst yourselves, and I will see y'all in 10. Okay, folks, welcome back from the break. Hope y'all had a good break and was able to do everything you needed to do. So that being said, who's ready for some more great poetry? Yay! Y'all can unmute yourself and cheer for a second. Yay. So keep that energy going and give it up as we bring our feature back up. Give it up for Alex the Great.
So if you're listening and wondering if there's some sort of rhyme or reason to this set tonight, there isn't. I'm just gonna read some poems. So hope you enjoy and talk all that jazz later. Yeah, once again, thanks for having me. Y'all keep on doing work, keep writing, keep spitting, all that good shit. And happy Black History Month for every day of the year. And yeah. On childhood fears that may never go away. When I was younger, my sisters and I would often play this game where they would gag me with a scarf, bag me up in sheets, and lock me in a closet until my mother got home from work. Except they're the only ones playing. It wasn't much of a game to me that all of our childhood memories are now filled with me being terrified and them being thoroughly entertained. Isn't it some of the sickest shit how people can be so overcome with joy over your pain? And now the craziest thing is that I don't know if I'm more embarrassed to say I've seen a therapist or to admit just how fucked up I am to even need one. I can't stand to be in dark places. Don't like feeling like I'm not in control when I don't know what could be lurking out from the shadows. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm afraid of what can happen in the dark, afraid of the secrets that linger there, of the skeletons that will try to bury you with them. They say that misery loves company. Maybe that's why I don't like to be alone. I sleep with the light on in every room of my house, but I can't stand mirrors. Who wants to magnify their own flaws? I got this fear of talking to strangers. Don't get too close to anyone too soon, and I'll never say Candyman in the bathroom again. In the back of my mind, I know he's got this hidden vendetta against me from 20 years ago. And I know this shit got to sound crazy, but I'm not crazy. Just the paranoia got a way of creeping up on you. I don't like when people stand behind me. Hands in your pockets for too long can mean you nothing but harm. And I don't know why. Sometimes I just shake tremendously. I can't sit still. I get nervous jitters. I'm always crying. I think I'm happy. It's more of a condemnation than a declaration to me, but I'm tired. Tired of playing the part of the broken girl, of the shattered woman. This movie has already been cast too many times. The bitter, battered, angry Black is a stereotype I am now willing to unmask. I'm asking questions I already know the answers to. I'm screaming in quiet places. I'm banging on every locked door I see. I just want to be validated. Yesterday, I cuddled myself in the darkest corner of the room, singing sweet spirituals and crying shamelessly for the night. Sometimes I just need to get out of my own head, not realizing the door has already been opened in the end. Maybe a small part of me is still just a little girl trapped in the closet, waiting for the day that my mother finally gets home. Right. Yeah, we're not gonna do no dialogue. I'm just gonna run through it. Here we go. They act like we are asking them to give up their firstborn. Like their only choice is Cain, and they can't just ain't able to choose death so easily, like we ripped their child from their womb or their arms. Like 200 of their daughters went missing in a day and no one panicked or even sounded an alarm. They left us powerless, then dropped matchsticks in our city, stood back and gasped as we set it ablaze. But contradiction is the language of the oppressor, a foreigner's tongue, pronounces things differently. They act like they speak like someone who doesn't belong here. Like some words are just too hard to pronounce, like racist or guilty. They act like we robbed them of their history, then sold it back to them on a website called Ancestry. They act like if they were us, they would not be enraged. Like they traded us 8 years in the Oval Office for more slain Black bodies and we were not happy with the exchange. They act like we ain't deserving of life, not handed to us in fractions. They act like they don't still owe us 2/5, and we ain't earned all that shit. Poet Daniel Garcia says, quote, "Every man is famous when a woman is in love with him," end quote. And I think, wow, there's just no telling how many men I've helped boost self-esteem. How many times I flexed this muscle called my heart and inflated egos beyond human recognition, how they cross over into notoriety and forget who they are or where they came from, start jet setting and forget about how we used to ride the bus across town, living high off the hog, rubbing noses with the Joneses, all the while got a bank account in the red because you made other plans, starting businesses you struggling to manage. But everyone knows when you make your startup money back, you always take care of your first investors, never turn your back on the ones who had your back, who planted the seed, not think of all the groupies, all the hoes, the thoughts, the haters, how it's true what they say. Folk look 10 times more attractive when they are famous, but you should never let the love change you. How he got on and acted brand new. Had to remind him of his humble beginnings. Helped him practice his lines when his ass could barely read. I was the one who wrote those acceptance speeches for all the awards he hadn't earned. How a woman always sits backstage while a man steals the spotlight. I think of how many men I've loved who weren't even deserving of the gift of goodbye I graced them with. How it bow out the audition and allow another to play the part of girlfriend, of wife, of right now for a good time. Just yesterday, I saved a man's life, kept him humble, kept him here. When I kept my words to myself, do you know what a responsibility it is to hold this heart in your hand? How heavy it is to the touch, how you mustn't waver or fumble the ball or drop your lines, how powerful a love to uplift a nation with just one. No one ever forgets the moment they became famous, especially not the one-hit wonders. Just think about how they fell off. Should have hired an accountant, a professional to balance the budget instead of spending frivolously until it is all gone. I've come back to reclaim everything that never belonged in an ex-lover's hands, demanding all my royalty checks for all the shows that piloted but never aired, all the songs we recorded and didn't publish. I did all the work of loving you far too well, for much too long for you to not even credit me with writing the damn songs. Trying to keep up with my time here. A reclamation. How beautiful is a body after it has been scarred? An open face bruise needing space to breathe, the wound, nothing but a memory. I survived everything that only came to hurt me, took the least of myself and named it alive. How sacred is a love song to myself? How can I serenade my solemnness, sing the background and the lead? Here comes the best part, the one where I am a good partner. To me, I set the stage, the lights dim low, see self-care as an act of revolutionary healing. No is the most romantic language I know. When I get turned on by setting boundaries, I do not quiver or hesitate to name my desires one by one, grant myself my every wish. How do I pick myself back up after the fall? Look the other way when I'm catcalled by the edge. The cliff does not scare me. This is me with real good love enveloping my entire body. See it, watch how it embraces me, covers all these insecurities twice over. How it doesn't think twice about affirming me. How I ain't got to wait for anyone else to rearrange their priorities before I can actually see that I am worthy, and got to convince myself my heart ain't fragile or weak. It's real heavy. Got a story to tell. How about these stretch marks saved me? I named each one a star amongst a stellar constellation. My body is an unconquered galaxy that heartbreak did not name me. And I am the sum of an exponential level of dispelled grief, my pain rooted in joy. How many times have I almost died? The men who stole my childhood and renamed me damaged tried to claim me. Drank so much, I blacked out through my 20s. Generational trauma tried to shame me. The men who would feast on my body like a 5 o'clock buffet line, the childbirth and all the blood loss, the love loss, the eulogy, the surgeries. Every day is a party, a celebration, and I am my favorite song. Headed back out to the dance floor. This is the remix. The mirror is my best friend. She gives a ceremonial hand clap and a dance, a monumental A to cheer me on. How glorious is the reclamation. My heart Equal parts made of clumsy relationships, gap tooth smiles, and a stained glass mason jar full of regret. These stained teeth, hands full of stomach rolls, hips spread like wildfire, and hair with split ends. It's all me. Every day that I wasn't supposed to be here, but I am. I revel in Satan's failed attempts. I owe so much to this body, how it didn't betray me. I all but despise it, yet it does not seek revenge, but it does the thankless job of continuing to love me. And keeping me. I think I got like 2 more, 3 more. I don't know if they're short enough for y'all. Okay, how y'all doing? This Zoom stuff is still so weird to me. We've been doing it for like 2 years now, but it's very strange. I'm used to like people screaming and getting their orders at the bar and a bunch of craziness going on. But here we are. You can do 20 more if you want. I'm sure these people have somewhere to be. So tomorrow. Okay. Let's see. Okay. The baby mama poem. You bed wench. You seed and rye and foul smelling spirit. You just don't let baby mama sit right on your tongue. You don't answer when you called. Ain't the right kind of woman. Can't even pronounce submissive. You're too damn independent. Let the government assist you to a slice of my American pie. You getting everything you deserve. And ain't it everything you want? You bitter. You petty. You wonder why no one wants your ass. I left you and you got the nerve to still be standing. Still be smiling, still be surviving, come up out of all this mess, still you ain't never gonna be nothing more than what I tell you. You don't listen good. Get some of that raise right out your spine, your back too straight, need more cower in your walk. Don't you know to do like a man say? A woman ain't got no other place but to be barefoot and pregnant, negotiate between the lust and the lesson, but damn it, why you always got your hand out over here looking for something? Don't you know how to take care of your damn self and leave me be and nourish my seed and be a punching bag or a doormat or a stuffed dog, you know, anything lifeless without an opinion, easily shaped you, my baby mama. Cracked your pelvis at its peak when my daughter crowned into this world, ceremonial, gave birth to my lineage, shed enough blood to cover the Red Sea, and your ass is still here. Why? So you don't even know how to die right. Regal. Can't take an insult the right way. Remember that time I told you I love you and cracked a smile? Remember how you believed it? Damn, can't take a joke either. That's why we ain't never gonna work out. You just ain't the right kind of woman. That's that point. Okay. I don't know. Something is tugging on me to do this this new piece that is very unfinished. But I'm going to give it to y'all. And I'm gonna grab it first, real quick. All right, so yeah, I was in a workshop last night or 2 nights ago, and the prompt was to pick a moment in which you endured a human experience that changed you, that has really stuck with you, or that has been particularly hard for you to look back on and reflect. And so I chose to write about my dear older father who transitioned in 2017. I don't know if you can see this painting back here is of him, a piece of it. But yeah, so yeah, here we go. That evening that I got the news, my daddy, his heart put in its resignation effective immediately, meaning it stopped, quit working. But this time it was for real. See, it had quit before, spouting some complaint about all this overtime and no extra pay, but just shows up again the next day. Idle threats, I guess. Lazy, in fact, it would barely get the job done. Let's call it insubordinate. Got written up one too many times. Verbal warnings on fractions no one takes heed to, but a written record is permanent. Yeah, except there was no collecting unemployment. My daddy's heart quit that day, and I had to go to work. And I had to come home, help my mother to collect herself off the floor, piece back together our fractured family while nursing a 3-month-old baby. She had no knowledge of the way our world turned on its axis. I don't have enough to nourish us both. I have been mothering everyone since then. They say that a nursing mother loses twice as many calories than they can consume in one feeding. A constant game of playing catch-up. Grief is a murderous beast on the brain. It's 5 years later, and sometimes I still forget to eat. But I remember that my daddy is gone, and I get angry, so angry that his heart clocked out that day. Yeah. And I'm gonna do one more. We're gonna get back to the slam. Let's see. What kind of note I want to leave y'all on? Some black on black on black. Okay, and this last piece I'm gonna do is called On Closure. Whilst you are home sobbing uncontrollably into your pillows, your neighbors, too enraged from the last few nights you kept them awake to even notice you unraveling at the seams, one frayed Egyptian thread count at a time. And you choose the Kleenex over the phone. Opt not to be the adulteress again, cheating yourself out of happiness. Your lips fail to part. You do not say his name. Instead, this time, you go for the pen. You write yourself into a poem, write your life into a mantra, and live again. I choose to convert my body back into a temple, no longer a juvenile's playground, the object of everyone's affection, the one that's weathered down and beat up. No one chooses to play outside in a storm. Meanwhile, across town, the preacher raves about our Most High God and all his awesome wonder. Parishioners bow down in benevolence at the altar, bringing gifts of sins cloaked in psalms. God, in his merciful kindness, chooses to give us restoration over retribution. And in all of this mind-wandering, soul-shaking prayer, we are afforded an amen. That, my friends, is closure. The very thing that seals the deal. The literal nail in the coffin, the lowering of the casket, unearthing all their possessions and giving them a new home instead of the closet, erasing the number from your phone so your mind won't even play tricks on your heart, try to speed dial a ghost. Getting voicemails from heaven just ain't the same. Closure is an intimate conversation with God. It is just shame telling you goodbye, packing up its baggage and moving on, the trash taking itself out, and you, feet propped up, sitting pretty on the couch, don't even bother to wave back. Instead, you say, don't slam my door on your way out. Those were the poems. That was the feature. I thank you for your time. You can follow me on the social channels if you'd like to purchase my work. It's on my website. And do y'all thing.
Give it up for Alex the Great.
Woo!
That was an amazing feature. I'm like, that's it. Like, I just want to like listen to her speak like 20 more poems, and but we have a slam to finish. So going into round 2 tonight, we have in this order Illya P, The Prodigy Truth, Lene, Maureen M, and Greg B. before we go ahead and get started. Judges, do we still have all 5 judges? Or are some of y'all in the parking lot like having tears and feeling your feels? Okay, so we got all of our judges here ready to go. Yep. Okay, so before we go ahead, we want to thank the 4 poets that did not make it into round 2. So everybody give it up for Frankie. Frankie, you were a trooper. I know technical difficulties suck, and I don't think Frankie's still here. Give it up for Manny. You're awesome. Manny, do you have any events or merch or anything you want to promote or anything?
Nah, I'm cool. Maybe next
Okay.
time I'll work on it by then.
Okay. And let's also give it up for Lacan. You're awesome. Do you have anything you want to promote or merch or anything you want to shout out?
I just want to thank everyone, my fellow slammers, and also the judges and organizers. Thank you very, very, very much. And yeah, slam is fun. It's about the vibe and looking forward to the finals. Thank you.
Okay. So on deck, we have the prodigy Truth, but coming to the stage, give it up for Irma P. Woo!
When you wish upon a star, you're basically saying that you believe that something trillions of miles away can actually hear you. Like it's not hard enough to tap a message into Morse code across your skin and try to fool yourself into believing that she probably gets the notice. Colors rise and Disney skies light up with dreams come true, and you are still trying to convince yourself that if you like girls, you could just be bi, and if you're bi, you could just settle for straight. Here's the thing. Once upon a time, a man and a woman fell in love, or they were told that they would eventually anyway, and they had some children who they tried to love and who were handed a script with an arrow pointing back to once upon a time, a man and a woman fell in love. Do you get a happily ever after if you're written out of the story? I mentioned something about someone gay at the dinner table. That is sick. My mom says 3 words to stifle a torrent of confession and confusion, a tsunami of question marks trapped in my chest. They clatter and roar, and I sing, you've got a friend in me, hoping no one hears the tumultuous storm I can't release in Japan. The oceans unleashing decimated entire storybooks, characters still determined, yet unabsolved, plots still unresolved. The footage has always halted my mind in its tracks for days on end to imagine that my love holds the power to decimate homes and villages, to believe that my truth can survive without respite, without life vests, without poking its head up for breath like this poem, to wish in tapped out brush strokes across your skin, or if you prefer, upon a sparkling star, that someday it might be different and alive, and you'll live truthfully ever after.
Give it up for Eliza. Judges. Let's get some scores. Okay. Wow, y'all are fast. Okay, we got a low of a 8.0. We have a 8.9, an 8.9, a 9.0, and a 9.5. So we are going to mash all those together. And I was supposed to put together some announcements for other events that are happening with Poetry Center San Jose, because in addition to supporting Poetry Slam, we have a wide variety of programs. We have open mics, we have featured readings, workshops, special events. Every fall we do a big poetry festival. So I am going to post in a little bit. I will post a link to the website so you can kind of go check out for yourself what other events they offer. Everything we're doing right now is via Zoom. We also take donations. You could purchase memberships. We put out publications. So a lot of great stuff. And instead of trying to list it all, just go check out the website, or if you are on Facebook, Poetry Center San Jose, on Instagram. Our wonderful scorekeeper, timekeeper, judge, jack of all trades, is also a board member with me. So what do we have for Elisa's round 2 score?
The score comes out to 26.8.
26.8. Clap for the poet, not the score. Now, right now during round 2, we're only announcing the round 2 score, but at the end of round 2, we're going to add up the round 1 and round 2 scores together, and that's going to determine our winners for tonight. So on deck, we have Lene, but coming to the stage, give it up for the Prodigy True.
The swelling she mistakes for erection still surrenders his body even when it betrays him. The clock strikes a match in the dark, but keeps time a secret, says, maybe in the morning I'll move, now prove to me you're a man and not a pussy. What? You are what you eat, says, I'm not hungry, but doesn't believe him, so I swallow my pride. She picks her poison, say she be sober in the morning she be so. She still be queen. Milk chocolate Godiva, still her she ties my hands behind my backlog, tumbler click GMG, tinker toys, takes the wallet full of lost, overdrawn credibilities and overdue apologies. She swallows the security keys to my most precious chamber, shatters him to shreds, and I swallow my pride because I am the problem. I rum. She chased me down with 2 shots of vodka, regurgitates my skin as sky, as the moon is white, can hear her howls speak when I talk to you, just sitting there, crown on her head and 22 against my temple. I swallow my pride. I'm just saying, this rope is a little tight. You came on a little strong. This isn't how I pictured this foreplay. Please to the audience, their feedback is part of the voyeur. Stop fucking with my emotions. The energy pleads. The elephant, the carnival is a safe space soon. Nothing you say or do will matter. It will all be over. She be sober in the morning. Her lips tape my mouth shut, guts me of my uncertainties. You, without a clue, know tonight she will make a man out of you, but you will never become one. Lightning strikes and smoke smothers my sanity, sings in a secure key of leave that I can't, don't have permission. In the hands of the clock, stop, fire cease, spread, burn to the beat, still moving strong, on and on. She thrusts this body, this mind. Never mind. The morning comes. I don't. Drips of dew on the bed sheet, says, I guess the roles were reversed. Told you I don't take no, so I swallow my pride. Find gratitude I could be a moonlight snack, edible enough. Said I tasted of honey. The hummingbird sings a silent harmony. Still caged, still She sings of freedom.
Give it up for the prodigy truth. Okay. Wow, judges nice and fast. We got a low of an 8.3. We got a 9.0, a 9.1, a 9.5, and a 9.7. While we're mashing all of that together, I do have one last little thing or event or that I want to announce. If you live in Santa Clara County or you know anyone living in Santa Clara County, that is a youth poet between the ages of 13 and 17, Santa Clara County has a youth poet laureate program. And right now they're taking applications, and I'm actually going to post the website that has information. So if you know any youth poets that might potentially be interested, or if you know any middle school or high school teachers in Santa Clara County, forward the information on. Like, it's a really good program in addition to, actually picking a youth poet laureate and a vice poet laureate, going up until, all the, whatchamacallit, like the judges have, given their final thing. They're putting on free writing workshops for youth, open mics, like a lot of little support events to get the youth poets in the county kind of forming, like meeting each other and forming these bonds and friendships so that they start organizing activities and stuff. So yeah, it's a really, really awesome program. And what do we have for Prodigy Truth?
Altogether, the score is 27.6.
27.6. Clap for the poet, not the score. So on deck, we have Maureen M. But coming to the stage, give it up for Lene. Woo!
This poem is for Pops, who tells me stories, tales from the deep south, about how a raccoon can whip a dog in the water. I learned how to fell a tree so it lands just right. I listened to his mama cook 3 meals a day for 11 people. I think that's why he smiles so big when you fix him something made to order, like a sandwich. He leads me to a field of memories, plowing behind a mule at 8 years old. We go to cane mills, remove the slag off the top as millstone rolls with the clop of a workhorse, juice and sweetness. I hear how to keep my fingers. I listen to the weight of a 65-pound basket of cotton on the back of a child. I hear the clank of pennies counted for shot to hunt rabbit for supper. Not a deer. He never could bring himself to kill one. I hear the sound of sitting on the porch with a rifle. I hear his heartbeat and a drop of sweat trickle off his brow. I hear a murder of Jim Crows pass over the family home. Sisters safe in the house, threshold blessed with his own blood, toil, and prayers. This is why he got good as head of security at a factory with his strong black 6 foot, who knows what body that was too young for that draft, but fought battles of his own. I have heard where his boys were raised, sent to college, seen on TV in various athletics. I have heard from whence they came. Great-grandchildren of 2 preachers' children who raised a family on 60 acres, mules, horses, and mostly the backs of their children outside of Mount Bayou, Mississippi. See, for a few, a little slice of this tale can be true. Walnut and peach trees, cornbread and collard greens, barbecues and fish fries, ham hocks and pork salad runs through their veins just like dominoes and spades. He is the great migration from southern farm to northern factory, I have heard. A person passes out when their arm is mangled in a meat grinder up to here. I've heard the pain of living a long life, filled to the brim with loved ones. Knows more hurt and dead people than I can name. He speaks to me of them, his cousin at 80 stabbed 13 times by her grandson and how she's still living. Brother-in-law drowned in the Mississippi, cousins killed in wars, nephews in and out of prison for no good reason. People who died on his watch at work, died in his home, in his care. He's a baby, so 2 of his older brothers now. He says, I worked every day. For work, there was work, and after work, there was work. And so this poem is for Pops, who tells me stories, smoking weed on the porch at the house with scenes of raccoons, whipping dogs in the water and trees felled just right.
Give it up for Lene. Okay, judges. Let's get some scores going. Okay, we've got a low of a 8.1. We've got a 8.8. We've got a 9.5, a 9.6, and our first 10 of the evening. So we're gonna match that all up. And thank you, judges, for staying consistent tonight. We appreciate y'all. And what do we got for Lene?
The score comes out to 27.9.
27.9. Give it up for the poet, not the score. On deck, we have Greg B, but coming to the stage, give it up for Maureen N. Woo!
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. In white America, where your dreams are deferred, we don't care if you're Black, but it's not preferred. Where they dry up, I can't breathe, put your hands up, I can't breathe. Raisins in the sun, but not too much sun. Racism kills our Black sons. All moms were summoned when he called for just one. And they fester like sores. Protesters, test the crowd, make them go wild. Don't run or they'll shoot. Tear gas, blind the masses, anti-racist, anti-fascist. Hate stinks like rotten meat, like the 13th Amendment to claim to end slavery. But always read the fine print, mass incarceration, Black criminalization, and if you speak up, there goes the First Amendment. Until they crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet. He incites violence with nonsensical tweets. Justice for all, land of the free. Dominate, he says, crush his neck with your knee. Inflammatory rhetoric, sanctioned brutality. And hate sags with a heavy load, a weapon of mass destruction, systemic oppression in tow. Your racism is showing America is about to implode. When windows are broken, it's all over the news, but bring on the lynching, Trump readied the noose. Arrest the cops that killed Bree on a hunt for George Floyd. 4 centuries captured in 8 minutes, skin color, yeah, they weaponize it. Silence is violence, so I'll say this out loud. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Thank you.
Give it up for Maureen M. Judges. Okay, we've got a low of an 8.7, an 8.8, an 8.9, a 9, and a 10. So we're going to mash those all together. And judges, you're only going to have to judge one more time tonight. Doing a fantastic job, and I appreciate you, because we cannot have a poetry slam without judges. A poetry slam without judges is an open mic, which sometimes we do, but not tonight. Brandon, what do we got for Maureen?
Comes out to 26.7.
26.7. Clap for the poet, not the score. So On deck, we have winners to be announced, but coming to the stage, give it up for Greg B. Woo!
This poem is after the Bay Area's very own Hector F. Castaneda. Being gender fluid confuses me more than it confuses you. It confuses me when I pick up a pair of pink glasses I like, and the red-faced optometrist screams across the room at me, "That's the women's section!" To which I say, "Don't worry, nothing matters. Time is an illusion, and someday we're all gonna die." There is no lens through which this man will ever be able to see me. I put the glasses down and buy contacts instead. I take a blue breath of air and walk out the door. Being gender fluid confuses me because until 3 years ago, I didn't even know you could be gender fluid. One day at work, I went to a training called Gender Affirming Care, and I started to sob because for the first time, I heard someone describe what I am. I always felt like a man, but I also felt like a woman. I thought I was gay, even though I wasn't, and had too much internalized homophobia to admit it. I wondered what was wrong with me, but nothing was. The binary just doesn't make sense to me, and that's perfectly, it's okay. It feels like a prism has opened up above me and I can finally shine through it. Being gender fluid confuses me because I don't understand what a gender fluid person looks like. When I wear tie-dye leggings and a punk t-shirt with fox ears, people are like, "Sure, you're gender fluid." I put on a wig and a Harley Quinn top and no one questions if I'm queer. But it's so easy to look like a cis man again if I don't put the effort in. Sometimes I don't want to put the effort in. Sometimes I just want to blend in. Sometimes I don't even want to be gender fluid, but I am. Being gender fluid confuses me when I asked to be the sacrificial poet at a WALPS qualifier. The slam host said I was too beardy. They are non-binary too. And when I say it was confusing, I mean it hurt. But the worst part is that I asked to be the sacrificial poet. I didn't sign up and compete in the slam because I didn't believe I was gender fluid. I didn't believe I was queer enough. I didn't believe I was really a woman. I didn't believe I belonged. I didn't believe the color inside me was beautiful enough to show the world. When I was 8 years old, I told my best friend my favorite color was pink. He said, "That can't be your favorite color because you're a boy." I had no recourse. I thought he was right. I said my favorite color was yellow for the next 16 years. I learned to love yellow. Yellow became comfortable, but it was a lie. When I published my novel 2 years ago, I gave that book a pink cover. I made pink stickers and pink shirts. I'm not hiding who I am anymore or my pink things. I might not make sense to everyone, but I don't have to. It all makes sense to me now. Being gender fluid doesn't really confuse me more than it confuses you. All these things people have done don't matter anymore. They're just lines in a poem now. I hold the power of what words I speak. It's magic. They live in my memories, but they are not my reality. My life is good, and there's nothing confusing about that.
Give it up for Greg B. Okay, judges. Last time you need to score. Okay. We have a low of an 8.5, an 8.5, an 8.6, a 9.1, and a 9.5. So this will be the last time that Brandon will have to mash scores together. And folks, give it up for Brandon. He is doing such an amazing job. Not only is he scorekeeping, he's timekeeping, and he's never done either of those for me before, and he's judging on top of it. So he is doing so fabulous. And I also too, for those of you that, if this is not your first time at San Jose Poetry Slam, we want to say also a little goodbye. If you've attended regularly, you may be familiar with our usual scorekeeper, Kevin Sparks. And if y'all don't know, I took over as Slam Master at San Jose Poetry Slam in January 2013. And Kevin has been my right hand before the Slam became part of Poetry Center San Jose in 2016. He was my treasurer. He has shown up for 9 years of scorekeeping. He has retired from scorekeeping and is taking a temporary like break from anything poetry for a while. So, you know, wish Kevin like some good energy out there in the universe, because he is totally awesome. And Brandon has just filled his shoes tonight so well. So thank you so much. And what is our final score for Greg?
Our final score is 26.2.
26.2. Okay, so we are mashing up all the numbers, and I know y'all are probably wondering now, who's won stuff? So what are the final results when we add round 1 and round 2 together? So we are going to start off. We are going to give a shout out in to our 5th place, who, although you do not win any money tonight, you have won a piece of our heart with a final score of 52.5. Give it up for Greg B. Greg, you want to say some words? You got anything? I know you got something to promote. So
yeah,
yeah,
I just want to
promote.
say thanks. I just want to say thanks to everybody who performed. This is so much fun. Our feature, Alex the Great, killed it. Yeah, I wrote a novel called Saying Goodbye to Toxic Boys. It's a codependent love story. It's about overcoming toxic masculinity and mental illness. It's like in a fun love narrative. It's so much fun. And just follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back. I want to connect with all the poets. Like, you all killed it. I think just elevating each other is like what this is about. Greg B Poetry on Instagram. Bye.
Okay, so in 4th place, not winning any money either, but also took away a piece of our heart tonight with a final score of 53.3. Give it up for Maureen M. Maureen, you got any words to say or anything you want to promote or plug?
I just want to say thank you so much, and this was really humbling and beautiful to witness all of you. And I am trying to get some poetry like published on different outlets, and I have 1 or 2 so far, so I'll just share that in the chat. So would love to connect with everyone. Thank you.
I just muted myself. And Maureen. So in 3rd place, and really quick, if you are 1st, 2nd, or 3rd place tonight, you did win a little bit of money. Obviously, I cannot hand you cash tonight. I've not figured out how to fit it in the screen. I have 3 ways I could pay you. I can either pay you tonight through PayPal, I could pay you tonight through Venmo, or I can get your legal name and address, and the treasurer of Poetry Center San Jose will mail you a check. Those are the 3. I don't do Cash App or Apple Pay or Zelle or anything else. So if you do win some money tonight, when the slam is over, do not leave, because I got to touch base and I want to make sure the money goes through, because like, I hate when it doesn't, and I'm trying to track someone down I'm not on social media with to try to get them paid. You also have the option, if you don't want to go through all that, you can choose to donate the money back to Poetry Center San Jose. So those are your options. So in 3rd place tonight, winning $10 with a final score of 53.8. Give it up for Irma P. Irma, you got any words you want to say? Anything to promote?
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here and to hear all of the poetry and to have the opportunity to share it. This is really cool for me. It was here, the last time I was here at one of your slams was my first time ever doing a poetry slam. So it's been super cool to be here. Thank you. I don't have anything to promote yet. Hopefully one day.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Now, in second place, winning $15 and a big piece of our heart with a final score of 54.3. Give it up for the Prodigy Truth. You got anything you want to say or plug or?
Hello, loves. No, not really. I just wanted to say it's always so much fun to come to San Jose, virtually, and get to spit a poem and share work with you, everybody, and get to hear everyone else's work. And so I just want to say thank you for everyone. And your work and your talent, it's all valued and wonderful. I'm still working on that book. Every time I come to San Jose, I'm like working on it. It's not just San Jose, it's every event I go to. I'm like, yeah, I'm still working on that book. It's coupled in with a lot of healing and a lot of self-identification. There's been, today was not a good day either. I really had to fight to kind of get through those performances, and so I appreciate y'all and your encouragement as well. You can follow me at the Prodigy Truth. I'm on Instagram. But yeah, thank you. I love you all, and it's been an honor once again. Always an honor.
Give it up for the Prodigy Truth. Yeah, and by the way, like when the world is no longer pandemic-y and we're doing things like holding events in actual venues, Prodigy, if you ever decide to go on like tour and you come to the Bay Area, we do have a spare bedroom with bunk beds. So like, y'all, yeah, actually, any of y'all, once the world is less like pandemic-y and we could be a little less, germophobic and stuff, y'all come on tour and you're going to be hitting the Bay Area. If you do need like a place to crash and, want to save on some hotel money, we have bunk beds. So, there is that. Now, the moment of excitement, drum roll. In first place, winning $25 with a final score of 54.6. Give it up for Lene.
Thank you.
We got
Thank
anything you
you.
want to shout out?
Just hi from Olympia, Washington. I met Mike McGee. He used to be, so I met him slamming in Seattle years ago. And so I've been following you guys back and forth. And so, this is the first slam I've won or done in like forever, like years, like 3 years. So thank you for having me. I put my Bandcamp on in the chat. I have a couple spoken word albums. You can listen to them for free. And follow me on Facebook. I write and all kinds of stuff. So thank you.
Yay. Okay. Folks, thank you all for coming. Keep coming back. Keep like sharing your beautiful truths. And we couldn't make any of this happen without all of you. And huge thank you to our feature tonight. Like you were awesome. Thank you. So hope to see everybody back next month. And the 3 of you I owe money to. Don't go anywhere. The rest of y'all, if I don't see you at some other virtual Zoom event, hope to see you next month. Good night. Okay. Eliza, message me either PayPal or Venmo info, and we will send you money right now?
Don't forget to cut the recording, Scorp.
Oh. Yeah.